So I got kind of sneaky in this one with an ace king suited, and normally I would always be aggressive with that hand, but in this one I just went for that sneak attack, you know what I'm saying? And it actually really worked out. Of course, as I'm getting in this, I'm just going to say this one time. If you guys are not in our community yet, I don't know what you're doing. You got to get in it. It's going to be in the pinned comment. You can talk with me, other high level members, and we can get you on our way. Also, you guys could tap the like as we're getting into this, and let's do it. All right, let's do our thing. Questions, comments, things like that, you could also message me below. But for the most part, I've been saying this quite a bit. I've been playing for basically like 2 decades. You know what I'm saying? I play pretty much a few times a week. I'm always doing my thing, and I just enjoy it. You know what I mean? And obviously, as you move up in stakes, players are going to get a little bit better, so you need to also improve. And really, what you should be doing when you're playing is, you should know all the strategies. You should know, the perfect pre-flop strategy, GTO, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're playing against other people at the table, and we're just trying to outplay them. That's all this is, right? A lot of this just comes down to making good decisions, and the more good decisions you make over time, they start to stack up. You obviously need a whole skill set to there's a lot of nuance to this is what I'm getting at. So it's not like you just, get good at a few things. It's really just like a stack of probably like 12 to 15 things that take time to get good at and develop, right? But you can get there if you stick with it, and if you get in the community, you could definitely get there, okay? Okay, anyways, ace jack, this is going to be basically what, like the fourth or fifth hand, not even getting into this, and I really just kind of ripped it here. I don't know how else to say it, but I kind of just ripped it, so, get ready for it. And, sometimes I make plays on opponents that you might look at and be like, what's this guy doing? But I usually have some idea of how I'm going to play something, if I'm, continuing to go for it. And this time, yeah, we're going to have a button raise from player 4. He was actually doing pretty good. So was player 5. They're both up on the day here, which is good for them, right? But we want to get up on the day as well. I'm just going to kick this up to the 48 piece from his, 13 piece. And you know what? He called. No idea what he's got at this point. To me, a lot of the hands he could be repping here, you got like a lot of ace-9 suiteds, ace-8 suiteds, ace-10s, maybe some king-queens in there. I don't know. But I definitely felt like this play was just going to get through anyways. I didn't see him making the call. What was so weird about this, though, is he's going to take like forever to make a decision here. And by the time you see his cards, you're going to be like, what was he waiting for? I have no idea what he was waiting for. But sometimes you just kind of deal with this kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I am definitely, once we get to that ace king suited, I'll tell you what, you guys are going to be like, whoa, okay. That's all I'm going to say. But you're going to have to wait for it. We just have some stuff to go over before we get there. And I like breaking down some of these spots with you guys. Just give you my thought process of what I'm thinking when I'm making a play. And this was obviously like, but I already told you the hands I was targeting, ace-10s. Then you got, your ace... really any ace-x suited. You got some ace-9s, ace-8s. But he took forever right there with pocket-9s, which really just didn't make any sense to me. It's like, what are you thinking, man? Just, let it go. Why are you wasting all that time? You obviously have to deal with that, but, I have no idea what that guy was thinking about. That was a pretty easy fold to me. I don't think unless he thought I don't know what he thought I was going to stack off with right there. Obviously I have to have something, right? All right, anyways, jack-8 off. Not a whole lot here. Just going to kind of muck this one. We were in the small here, so, it is what it is. And, yeah. And sometimes it's just not even worth trying anything. It's just like, just lose and move on from it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it doesn't make sense. Like, you're trying to tell a story in each hand, and my story was I had garbage, and I did have garbage, so it doesn't make sense to kind of go for it. All right, next hand we had a king jack. A couple king jacks in this one. It's gonna be the first one. I think it's the first one anyways. Now I actually let this go. Player 5, I did notice just sitting for a little bit, he was playing pretty tight. You might look at that and be like, that's a pretty tight fold. However, he did open one before the button here. So he's obviously got a pretty decent hand. We would have missed this flop anyways, so it turned out to be a good fold regardless. But, I definitely think he's repping a lot of ace X's here, and then you got some like mid pocket pair kind of things. Anyways, it was a good fold. Maybe you might look at me like a pretty tight fold. Next hand we had a 6-10 of spades. I really wanted to play this. I don't know why. It's not a good hand though. 7-10 suited, 8-10 suited, obviously 9-10 suited. Those are all good. 6-10 though doesn't really connect well, and once again player 5 is going to open. And like I said, he was playing pretty tight, so we got to keep that in mind here. I don't think he's doing it with bad hands. And another one where it's like, okay, that's, I mean, ace, ace, jack, some diamonds out there. Player 5 continuing to go for it, and he took it down. So good for him. All right, here we go. The second round of King Jack. Second round here. Let's begin. What's going to happen here? All right, now here's where I was kind of in a pickle. Player 3 is going to kick this up. King Jack off. It's so hard to play when you're dealing with this. You know, if it's suited, it's different. It's like, it's an easy decision. You're going to make a call. This guy kicked it up to the 65 piece. Had to let it go, you know. Probably just another discipline lay down, honestly. You know, it is what it is. One of the hands that I do regret the way I played was this one right here, 5-7 suited. 5-7 suited, you know, I really like this hand, okay? I like when it's spades or hearts more than clubs. I know that sounds a little bit weird, maybe a little bit superstitious, but hey, whatever. Gonna just just make this call, not limp. We have nothing here. We did have some runner possibilities, and that was actually a good one because look at that. We've got a 4 to the straights. This guy's playing super passive, you know, we didn't get there, but I think if I would have raised on the turn, we might have been able to get him off this one, you know, but I didn't. I played this one just way too passive, and I just had to let it go. I would have had to go for a pretty big sizing on the river to get him off, but, you know, I definitely think I should have raised that turn, in my opinion, looking back at it. It's always when you look back at something, you just feel different about it. I do feel different about it right there. All right, 8-5, and we're getting close to the ace-king suited I've been hinting at since we kind of started this, so I hope you guys are still with me. 8-5, letting it go here. A lot of aces hitting these boards in this. Didn't realize it, but it was just a lot of aces. Everything was so basic, you know? All right, nobody seems to want this one. It's kind of how it's looking right now. All right, so the clubs got there. We were blocking the clubs, though. We had a 5 of clubs, so a little bit less likely. It's also, you had to look at some of this stuff, like when you're playing, like, what am I blocking? Especially if you're going to bluff. You know, I don't think a lot of people do that enough, but you should be thinking about it a little bit, you know? Anyways. All right, player 3 went for it. You got to think he had it there, you know, if I had to guess, right? All right, so King 4 suited, and right after this is going to be our ace-king. Hope y'all are ready for it, because I know I am. All right, so King 4, going to put in a raise here. And this is a pretty standard raise, you know. 1 before the button here opening, and I think player 3 is going to muck this. If he would have raised this, I would have made this call. And here we go. This is our moment to shine here, okay? We got a ace-king suited. Played this one very sneaky. But because I played it sneaky, it kind of just ended up working out in our favor. Normally don't do this. This might have looked like a misclick. It's just that I did play this very sneaky, okay? I really did. Okay, I think we're gonna have at least one raise here. All right, player 2 limped. It's gonna come back to player 3. Somebody's gonna raise it here. Like I said, I normally never do this. I would say it's every once in a while, and I just felt like being sneaky. The sneak attack, okay? Going for the sneak. All right, yeah, I think player 3 is going to be the one to open here. All right, so he kicked it up to 30, and when someone goes that with that sizing, it really just says to me like you've got a pretty good hand, right? We're targeting maybe some other ace kings, maybe some mid pocket pairs like queens, maybe jacks, tens, things like that. You have to understand though, we are blocking aces and kings. It still happens when you run into those hands, even when you're holding ace king. It's just less likely, and that's the way we have to think about this. All right, so player 2 is going to make the call, and we're going to see, a nice flop. A lot of possibilities here. Obviously, if we're up against pocket queens, we could be in a little bit of hurt. We'll need to be, getting a little bit lucky there. But, this is a good flop. No idea what player 3 has at this point. If anybody's going to put in a raise here, we could argue re-raising here. We could. Player 2, I'm not really sure what he has. He limped, Sometimes when people limp, you got to be thinking, like, what are they limping with? It's usually, like, mid to small pocket pairs, like 4s, 3s, 5s, 6s, 7s, I opted to check this. I wanted to see what player 2 would do, but it didn't even matter. We got the card we needed on the turn, and I'm really just hoping at this point somebody's slow playing a monster. You know what I'm saying? That's really what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I'm going to tell you exactly what, because it's going to be me and player 2 in this one. I'll tell you what he had at the end of it because he's going to muck it. But I did check the history here. But we still need to dodge some stuff here going to the river. Obviously, we want the board to pair. We want it to stay good. All right, so player 3 is going to put out a 30-piece. I just opted to call here, hoping player 2 would do something. He didn't. River card's going to be a ace. So, King Jack out there, it's about it. Player 3 is, and it's a lot less likely anybody has a flush at this point because we do. Now, the pot's decent right now. Obviously, we need to build it a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how much to go for here. And I came to the conclusion this would be good. So basically like half the pot. Didn't expect this though. Player 2 is going to raise us. He's going to do the min raise. So obviously I knew he was going to get it all in at this point. I was hoping player 3 might make this call, but he didn't. So what are you going to do? Anyways, we're going to get it all in here. He is going to make the call. And what's unfortunate for him is that he has pocket 10s. And I don't know if pocket 10s re-raises because King Jack does get there. You know what I'm saying? But he put himself in a pickle. Maybe he thought I had like 2 pair or something. He's going to call right away and he's going to muck it. Anyways, here's the deal, guys. I thought we saw some good stuff today. I'm going to reiterate one more time. Get in the community, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching this. We'll see you in the next one.